Hi, we are the Bookish Bishes,
We read books.
and we have Bishes!
Today we're doing our 2022 Book Awards just as a way to do a comprehensive wrap-up of everything we read this year, as well as talk good about some books, talk bad about some books, have a little fun. I read 110 books this year, and I usually give like a 3 or 4, maybe a 5. My average rating is 3.8 on Goodreads right now.
I read 56 books this year, and my average rating is also very high. It's 4.4 on Goodreads, but I really kind of stick to the categories of books that I know I'll like. So, yeah, I think don't like to DNF books. I've only DNF'd one book this whole year, so.
I'm more likely to DNF books. Okay, so the way this is going to work is we have a bunch of categories. We're going to really quickly go through the nominees, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the winners. Some categories we agreed on a winner, and some we each have a winner. Yeah. So the first category is Best Main Character. So the nominees are Robin Swift from Babel,
Britt Marie from Britt Marie Was Here,
Lester Papadopoulos from the Trials of Apollo series,
and Finlay Donovan from Finlay Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead.
or the whole
Or the
series. This
series.
is, I think, number 2.
Okay, the series. I haven't read it, so.
Yes, and we agreed on a winner for this category, and that is Mr. Robin Swift from Babel. And why did we love him?
I just really loved Babel as like a whole.
So I really appreciated how Robin had that inner struggle between fighting the injustices that he saw in the world and knowing that he benefited from those same injustices. But beyond that, I really loved his personal relationships with his friends, with his family, and just how he grew over the book.
Yeah, where he started and then where he ended up, wild.
Yeah. He was just also really sweet little boy.
He was great. He was
Sweet
a great boy. Next category is Best Side Character. The first nominee is for me, Griffin Lavelle, spoiler, sorry, from Babel. The next one is Benjamin Ovich from the Beartown series.
Next is from both of us, and that's Meg McCaffey from the Trials of Apollo. And then I also really loved Vero from the Finlay Donovan series. And Mary's winner is...
My winner is Benji from the Beartown series. I have a Beartown sweatshirt on. This is probably like one of my favorite series ever. Definitely of the year.
She changed her personality to love hockey.
Yeah, I have decided to love hockey because of this series. Yeah, and Benji was he's just such a real character. And also like the way Frederick Bachman writes his characters, they're all like amazing. So
yeah. And then my favorite side character of the year was Meg McCaffrey. She was just such a firecracker, always added that comedic relief you needed. She was so fun. She had a lot of heart. And also just her struggles throughout the whole series was really great to watch as she grew from, this really bratty 12-year-old to an awesome bratty 12-year-old. Next we have, in the same kind of vein, the best friend group, or group of characters. So, knock it off again.
So our first nominee is the quartet in Babel, Letty, Rami, Robin, and Victoire. Our next nominee are the Beartown kids, the hockey bros, but also like Maya and Anna.
Similarly, I really love the little kids and Britt Marie, the soccer players. They're so cute, and I just love them so much. And finally, once again, the kids from the Trials of Apollo. Classic Percy Jackson,
just good
group
vibes.
Of kids coming together, being awesome, fighting bad guys. And the winner is...
So for me, it was the crew from Beartown. Again, Frederick Bachman's like characters and their relationships with each other, and also how they grow. It's just amazing.
And for me, I picked the kids from the Trials of Apollo. You can't beat it. I just love the ragtag group of kids coming together, fighting the bad guys, and Rick Riordan, his characters are so great. At least to me, I love them all. The next category is Best Romance for me, is how I read the category, but Mary changed it to Best Relationship.
I don't read romance books, so I'm just like, I interpret it as like romance or kind of like, character relationship. The first nominee from this category is Robin and Rami from Babel. My next nominee, I don't own it, but Mina and Shin, which I'll put the cover up here, from The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. The next one is from Atlas 6, Nico and Gideon. My last one was Bobo and Tess, who Bobo was introduced in the first book, but Tess is introduced in the winners.
My nominees for best, and mine are specifically romances, relationships. So the first one, I'm holding up the second one, but both during the first and second Legend-born books, the relationship between Bree and Sel. Also Bree and Nick, I love them both, but definitely in the second book, Bree and Sel kind of shines a little bit more. Love them. Very angsty. Next we have Nora and Charlie from Book Lovers. This is one of my favorite romances of the year. I read quite a few romances and I just really liked them. And lastly is the relationship between Elizabeth and Calvin in Lessons in Chemistry. Their relationship really hooked me. Okay, and Mary's winner is...
My winner is Robin and Rami from Babel. Again, one of the reasons why Robin was our favorite character overall, his relationships with his friends, and Rami.
And then my favorite relationship is not a romance, even though I read a lot of romances. It is Elizabeth and Calvin. I just really, really was so invested in the relationship, and I wanted that part of the story to go on forever. And when it didn't, not gonna say spoiler why it didn't, but I was so heartbroken. I literally was crying. So yeah, loved them. Okay, next category is Worst main character.
Okay, so my nominees are Farah from A Court of Thorns and Roses. I couldn't stand this book. I couldn't stand the writing. I couldn't stand Farah. My second is Libby from Atlas 6. And my third one is Xingyin from Daughter of the Moon Goddess and Heart of the Sun Warrior, but specifically her in Heart of the Sun Warrior.
For me, the first one is Avery Grams from the Inheritance Games. I read them from the library, so we'll put a picture here. Yeah, she's just stupid. Next is Mariana from the Maidens, and last is Amelia from the Kingdom of the Wicked series. Again, put a picture up here. She is, again, really annoying. Her decision making made no sense. Hated her. And Mary's winner is...
My winner is Farah from Court of Thorns and Roses. I think we say it later on, but my least favorite book of the year. My least favorite character of the year. I didn't care what happened to her. I didn't care about her decisions because they were stupid. She was stupid. I was she just really made me so angry because I hated her so much.
It's a lot of people's favorite character. No, I'm kidding. Well, I think everyone kind of knows that Farah is
the
dumb.
worst.
Yeah. And then mine is Mariana from the Maidens. Like I said, she just made every wrong choice. Everything she did, it didn't make sense. It was infuriating. And I just hated her. I think it compounds because this book wasn't very good. So I think maybe if she was as stupid as she was in a better book, it would have been less atrocious. But because it was both, just awful.
Our next category is worst side character. I didn't have any nominees because for me, if I don't like the book, if I don't like the side characters, they don't really stand out. They're just forgettable. So
yes, I only have two in this category. The first is Cher Wheeler from I Kissed Cher Wheeler. Yeah, I thought she was awful. That whole book I didn't love. And yeah, I thought that she was specifically a terrible person. And then secondly, Victoria from the Kingdom of the Wicked series. I just thought, yeah, her decision making didn't make any sense. Everything in that book really didn't make any sense. So my winner is Victoria. She just made things worse for no reason, and I guess her decisions did drag out the book to make it a trilogy, which it probably shouldn't have been. But she was just so annoying. Every time she popped up, I was like, why are you here again? So yeah, did not love her.
Next category is the worst romance slash relationships. My first nominee is Libby and literally anybody in the Atlas 6, just because Libby was so annoying. My dislike of her made me dislike the other characters when they were with her. The next one nominee for me was Addie and both of the guys in this book. I don't even remember their names.
I remember Luke, but he's like the big...
Yes. Luke, because he was like the devil. But I don't remember the bookstore guy. I just like didn't really care about her relationship with either of them. My final nominee is Farrah and Tamlin. Again, hated her, hated this book, didn't care about them.
That's a fair opinion, though. Everyone knows that Tamlin is the worst. So my worst couples, and both of these are romances, so I was supposed to be rooting for these couples, and I was not. So we have Luke and Oliver from the Husband material. This is a sequel to the Boyfriend material, which I really loved. I fell in love with the relationship, and I think this was a book that didn't need a sequel, and the fact this sequel kind of ruined it because it ruined the characters. And then secondly, we have Karima and Prem from Dating Dr. Dill. Again, I just didn't see the chemistry between them. And for a romance, if you can't see the chemistry, that's kind of bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mary's winner is...
My winner is Farrah and Tamlin. I think I've spilled enough hate on this book, so no need for an explanation.
Yes. And then mine is Karima and Prem from Dating Dr. Dill. I really wanted to love this book, and I thought, like, the family relationships I really liked, but the two main characters, yeah, there was no chemistry, and they also had a lot of pet peeves that specifically I don't like, so maybe if these don't bother you, you wouldn't like them, but the main character was really pushy to Karima. He would call her names that she specifically asked him not to call her. You know, there's just like a lot of those little things that like really rubbed me the wrong way, and that's why they were my least favorite couple of the year.
Next category, best cover. So the first one we don't own, but honestly, the U.S. and the U.K. cover for The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea are both beautiful. Love them. My next nominee is kind of like a two for one. The Daughter of the Sun Goddess, Heart of the Sun Warrior.
Also the British covers.
Also the British covers of these are beautiful as well.
Yeah.
We'll put them here. Fun fact, the cover artist for this is also the same cover artist for The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, so it's no wonder they both made it on here.
And everything she does is amazing.
It's beautiful. And I do have a one last quick addition.
Oh, popping it in.
I really liked the covers for Before the Coffee Gets Cold. All of them. They're like so simplistic, but so beautiful.
Agreed. And then my picks for this category, the first is Coltish by Amanda Montell. I just think for a nonfiction book, this is so fun and eye-catching and really just kind of like draws you in. It looks like kind of vintage. Love it. Just love it. Next we have Yerba Buena. Again, this is kind of like simplistic, but I just think the vibrant colors, the cocktail, I love it. It's so pretty. And then lastly, I have I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. I think it's Sepetys. And I just adore this cover. I think it really sets the mood of the story. I love the person looking away, the flag. It's just, I think it's so beautiful for historical fiction. And we have a collective winner on this one, and that is Daughter of the Moon Goddess / Heart of the Sun Warrior. They're so beautiful.
Just anything. I just love her art and just the way it looks. She has another, there's another book that she's the cover artist for called Strike the Zither. I did put it on my Goodreads to be read specifically because she was the cover artist.
Yeah, and we do, if anyone wants to send us the UK cover, I would gladly love it because I think they're both beautiful. Next we have Worst Cover, and these are all me. Mary couldn't think of any.
I couldn't think of any.
So I actually don't own any of these. All of them I read from the library, but first we have Husband Calling. I think it's too similar to Boyfriend Calling, and I think it's just kind of like, boring, whatever. Next, we have all of the Kingdom of the Wicked covers. I don't know why, but they do infuriate me. There's just something about them that looks both like childish but like trying to be edgy. Rubs me the wrong way. I don't like that. And lastly is Something Wilder. This one looks like it was made on Canva. And it looks like I made it on Canva. It's not that cute. Especially for like a romance, I like one a little bit more, and this one just is like not it for me. And my winner is Something Wilder. If you're gonna pay an artist, make it look better than something on Canva
that you can make for free.
yeah, exactly. Next category. This one's gonna be contentious.
Best writing.
Best writing.
Okay. So the first nominee is Babel, once again. The next nominee we have is How High We Go in the Dark. The next nominee, the next two nominees we don't have, and those are The Song of Achilles and Piranesi.
Yes. Next we have Britt Marie Was Here, but you could insert any Frederick Bachman book and love his writing. Next, I have Comfort Me with Apples. This is a short horror book, and this is specifically because I think you have to be such a good writer to get a novella right, you know?
Yeah.
And finally, we have The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn, and I just think it was a beautiful story. Beautiful. Beautiful.
I was really torn on this one. There are so many I wanted to pick. Ultimately, my pick for this one was How High We Go in the Dark. I listened to it, and I really loved it, listening to it, and that says something because I don't really comprehend as well when I listen to an audiobook. But I thought it was really poignant.
Poignant?
I thought it was really poignant, and very, I thought the writing was beautiful, and it really hit home because it's about a plague, and we're, COVID. So,
In a plague.
So, yeah.
And my winner was Britt Marie, but again, any Frederick Bachman book. This one just happens to be my favorite at the moment. I just think he does such a good job of turning these kind of small town stories into just beautiful odes to people, to relationships, and I just highly recommend him to everyone. And the fact that it's translated, so it's the translator, I guess, also gets a shout out because it's incredible.
Yeah, and also his writing is just so accessible.
Yeah. Okay, next category is best premise.
So my picks were Jade War. It's actually the second in the Greenbone Saga, which is a trilogy. And then my other pick was Babel.
Babel. Okay, and then my two are, the first one I just read from the library, and that is Are Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng. I just thought the premise was really cool. I love a good, lightly dystopian book. I think those are really, really my, scratch my itch. And then secondly is the Legendborn / Bloodmarked. I just think the premise is so cool and so unique. Mary's winner
My winner is Jade War. And really the whole Greenbone saga. It's just such an interesting concept. And there's so many moving parts, so many characters. But yet everything it's also just so well written. In that with so much happening and so many characters, there aren't these huge loopholes that you sometimes get.
So mine is Legendborn. I know this is Bloodmarked, but I just think it's so amazing that Tracy Deonn is able to bring this Legend of King Arthur into the modern day and make it accessible to a new audience. I think the setting at UNC is really important, both to Bree in the story and Tracy Deonn as a writer. And I just think it is such a great book and such a great YA fantasy that blends, traditional fantasy, King Arthur, with modern day struggles. And it's so good if you haven't picked it up yet. Okay, here we go. Most disappointing. This one's going to be fun. So these aren't necessarily the worst books of the year, but books that we just had higher hopes for.
Yep. So my first pick is Atlas 6. My next one we don't own, but it is The Song of Achilles. My next pick is Heart of the Sun Warrior. And then my final pick is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
Yes. So for me, the first one is Daisy Darker. I just expected more. Next I have Dating Dr. Dill. Again, I'd heard great things, didn't love it. And the last one is The Chrissy Affair. Again, don't own it. The thing that really got me with this one is the person on the cover has blonde hair, but no one in the story has blonde hair. So, like, what's that about? So my winner is Dating Dr. Dill. Like I said, I just had such high hopes, and I wanted it to be so good, and I didn't love it. It was a pain to get through it by the end.
My most disappointing book was Atlas 6. Because again, yeah, I had heard just like really good things about it. And
I mean, I liked it.
Yeah, and Katie had read it, and she had said she liked it, so I was excited to read it. Again, I do think my rating for this went down because I read it in close succession with Babel. And they're both kind of like dark academia, fantasies, and it just was not what I wanted it to be.
Next category is most surprising, and I only have nominees for this. She doesn't. So the first is If There's a Murder Club. I'd heard both good things and bad things, liked it. Next we have The Maid. When I first read the premise, didn't love it, but then I liked it. And then finally we have Diamond Eye. I'm really nervous when it comes to World War II historical fiction. Liked it. So my winner is The Diamond Eye. Like I said, I am really, really nervous to pick up historical fiction specifically about World War II. I'm like very specific. I don't want it to romanticize, brutality. I don't want it to romanticize Nazis. I don't want it to romanticize concentration camps. I've read so many of those, and I'm not here for them anymore in this day and age, and this did not do that. It was completely different than anything I had read. It really showcased the brutalities of life on the Eastern Front for a woman, and then also there was a fun, like, murder mystery plot. Loved it.
Fun little twist.
A fun little twist. Okay, and then we only have 2 more categories. These are the big ones, guys. Yes. The big ones. First, we have Worst Book of the Year.
So I only have 2 nominees for this one because, again, like I said, I usually stick pretty close to my my likes, what I know I'll like, which tends to be fantasy or literary fiction. So my first pick was A Court of Thorns and Roses, and then my next pick was a DNF. I DNF'd it after like 20 pages. I wanted to like it, but it is Iron Widow. We don't own it.
Okay, I kind of have a lot of books here for my worst of the year. The first one is, I don't have it, but it is Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. Hated it. 1 star. Next up I have For the Wolf. Hated it. Next up I have Daisy Darker. Again, hated it. Also by Alice Feeney. I guess she's just not for me. We have Rock, Paper, Scissors. Terrible. Next up, I have If This Gets Out. This was bad. I read fan fiction better than this, and this was published. And then lastly, we have Merry Little Meet Cute. Again, bad. Timeline didn't make sense. I feel like you need to have at least your timeline make sense. And like
very minimum.
Very minimal, especially if it's like just like a low stakes like romantic comedy. Why are you shooting a Christmas movie on Christmas and then have it come out that year? What? Confused. Anyway, Mary's worst of the year is...
So, Iron Widow, because I DNF'd it, and I don't like to DNF books. I wanted to like it. It just was not... the writing style was not it for me. The premise I was interested in, but just like the way it was executed, I was not here for it.
And my worst of the year was Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. I think Alice Feeney's writing just makes me really angry. The characters made me really angry. The twist made me really angry. To say that it was and then there were none retelling made me really angry. Alice Feeney doesn't lightly foreshadow. She'll hit you on the head like a brick with, really cliche things like, but then the family won't be happy for long, constantly. And I just, it made me so angry. Okay. Whoo, whoo, whoo. Okay.
And now to end on a good note.
Yes, our best of the year. Okay, Mary, start us off.
All right, so our first nominee is Babel. And then our next nominee, basically anything Frederick Bachman wrote. I read everything he's ever written this year.
I read some of what he wrote this year.
So he's obviously on there.
Next, I have Book Lovers. I just think Emily Henry really works for me. Best romance of the year. And this is the second one, but the Finley Donovan series. I have told literally everyone that I have ever came into contact with in the past year to read this book. And everyone that has listened to me has loved it. It is the most fun. Just chaos. Loved it so much. Cannot recommend it
Also,
enough.
we know the places that are in the books. So
it
that's
takes
kind of
place
fun.
where we live, which is also kind of fun. Yeah.
And drum roll, please. Best book of the year
For both of us.
Babel. Surprise, surprise.
You can't beat it. It is so good.
I love anything R.F. Kuang has ever written. I will read anything she will ever come out with.
It was just such an immersive world. Loved it. Loved spending time with it. Didn't want it to end. We own multiple copies. I loved it. There's so many layers. I can't wait to reread it at some point because I feel like
there's like something new to uncover each time.
Yeah, and like there's so many things that I feel like we can be able to like see and piece together as we go. So yeah, that was our best of the year, and we loved it so much. R.F. Kuang, if you would like a bish,
please send us anything you will ever write.
And I'll send you a baguette who's sleeping on the couch. Just kidding, you can't have her, but maybe like a fake one.
Yeah.
A bish award.
A Bich Award. Yes.
So that's all for us today. We will see you next time.
When we talk about our most anticipated reads of 2023.
I have to figure that out
Yeah.
first, though.
Coming soon.
Just have to look at my pre-orders.
Yes, yes. All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.